All right, Teak, a lot of items to hit. Let's jump into it. Jason Cole from Bleacher Report, NFL reporter, is with us here again on Tiki and Tierney. Jason, how are you today?
I'm great. What's going on?
All good, brother. What can you add to the circus in Buffalo? Anything at all? I mean, did we get it right? Are we missing anything here?
Well, actually, I think the one view of this is that Rex is actually playing along with the owners, and the owners are interfering a lot. And you get this a lot with new owners. You know, you buy a new toy, you want to play with it, and especially if you paid for $1.4 billion, you want to you want to play with that new toy. And so they're interfering a lot. So the decision to interview players before they fired Greg Roman without Rex being there, they got involved with Marcel Darius and that contract extension a year ago. I also think their fingerprints are all over the firing of Coach Carl Dunbar, the defensive line coach, was done in March, which was a very odd time for an for an assistant coach to be hired or fired. So I think that you're seeing that the owners want to do all of this, and Rex is basically allowing it because he's not stepping in and saying, look, if you want me to run the football side, let me run the football side. You guys go do what you do as owners, but you can't interfere this way. Instead, he's doing what Jason Garrett does in Dallas and allows ownership to do whatever it is that they want to do. I mean, I know it's hard for a head coach to interfere like that, but
you got to have a little backbone, Jason.
Yeah.
Come on.
You can't allow owners to undermine the football organization. I mean, football teams are very oddly run organizations. Tiki, you'll explain that better than I will. But you can't have interference like that.
Yeah, Jason, it's interesting with the Buffalo Bills because it feels like for the last couple of years, even going back pre-Rex, it's just there's no cohesion, and we want to believe that it doesn't affect what's on the field. The only thing that matters on the field is the players and how they execute. But with Doug Whaley, the issues that he had with the previous staff, and now it feels like Rex and him may not be on the same page, and now the owners are firing. I mean, how can they ever get themselves going in the right direction collectively? Because until they do, I don't see them being a winner.
Well, I mean, you hope that the owners will learn and understand that the owner has a place. It's a very important place. Let's not I'm not trying to diminish the person who writes the checks, no question about it. But they have a very specific place that doesn't include too much interference in football ops. Yeah. That has to be handled by the coaches and the general manager. And so you hope that they learn and understand that eventually and learn it sooner than later. Ultimately, though, especially with modern owners that I've watched, they interfere for far too long and for far too much. But I will leave you with this on that front. There is no position more important than owner of an NFL team. If the owner gets it and understands it and knows how to guide the ship but not necessarily steer it, and take control of it, that's usually a smoothly run organization. That's where you see John Mara, the Rooneys, the Crafts. They understand where they belong in the operation and where the line is between them and football operations.
So to Jason Cole, Bleacher Report, Tiki and Tierney. Jason, I came across an article, actually a few over the weekend, and it's pretty interesting. The funding referendum the Chargers need, and they need 2/3 majority to get what they want. And let's face it, most analysts view that as very dubious. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
And it's been positioned now as inevitable and shocking if they were actually to get the 2/3. So it looks like the Bolts are getting ready to bounce, and it looks like they'll be in L.A. next season, huh?
I would say probably. I wouldn't bet. Having been through this a lot, I don't know what the next twist and turn is. I would say that if you were to look at the Mission Valley site, they want the downtown site, and maybe they position themselves to get the Mission Valley site out of desperation, like the city somehow gives them that site and lets them do whatever they want there. Maybe that works, but I know that ownership is not in favor of that idea right now. If they're going to increase the value of the team, they think that they have to be downtown, and I get that. This is a really big money play. It's about trying to turn your, 1.3 or 1.4 billion dollar asset into, say, a $2 billion asset or a $2.5 billion asset. And they can do that if they go to Los Angeles and they do it right. But they've got to compete with the Rams as well, and that's not necessarily an appetizing thing either, the Rams have such deep roots in the Los Angeles community. So, I mean, the Chargers are kind of backed into a difficult situation, and I don't know exactly what's going to be the best way out. I don't know if it's trying to figure out a way to stay in San Diego.
Vegas? What about Vegas?
No, Vegas. They're not going to go to Vegas.
No chance.
They looked at Vegas 8 years ago. It doesn't work for them.
Yeah.
They're not the same brand as the Raiders. The Raiders can make it work in Vegas because they have a national brand, and people will follow them, and they'll get fans from Los Angeles and from Oakland to fly in.
That makes sense, actually. Makes a lot of sense, to be honest with you. You know, Jason, let's move on field for a couple of teams that are, I think, in important situations right now. One, the Minnesota Vikings, with Adrian Peterson hurting his ankle, and Sam Bradford looked fantastic. So
you ready to play again?
Yeah, I'm telling you, right? Even without a run game, I could go out there and give you 50 yards a game, and if Sam Bradford plays the way that he did yesterday,
you're pretty skinny these days, you marathon man.
That would be awesome. More importantly, the Patriots and obviously Jimmy Garoppolo could be a week, could be longer. What do we expect?
I think we're expecting that he'll probably miss 2 weeks with a shoulder injury like that. I mean, he was in such pain. Now maybe they get through this week with Brissett and then patch it together with Garoppolo for Game 4, and they'll be all right. I think that game's against Buffalo, if I remember correctly.
It is.
So, maybe they get lucky and they get Garoppolo back for Game 4. But the good news for the Patriots is they've accomplished already what they set to accomplish, which was just hold serve over the first 4 games. You go 2-2, even if they'd gone 1-3, but they've already got 2 wins in the bank. You wait for Daddy to get back in Week 5, and it's all good because they're going to win that division. I mean, I hate to break it to Jets fans, but
no, I'm one of them, and I agree. So
yeah,
no,
but
I agree.
I just get the feeling they're going to walk away with that division, like they have for the last 15 years.
I agree. Not a lot of time on this here, but I at least want to throw you something on the Jags, who obviously don't have a real national profile, but I know that you heard a lot of the offseason hype, and maybe you even believed it like I did. Thought the Jaguars would be a whole lot better than they are. I know their ownership has been historically patient with Gus Bradley here, but this is a bad look. They look terrible in San Diego.
Yep.
What's going on there with the Jags?
Well, actually, they looked pretty good in the game against Green Bay.
Yeah, they did. They did.
They looked very good, and they looked horrible yesterday. And the defense is just not making the progress. I mean, they brought in a lot of defensive talent. Now, I'll say this: I think this team defensively is going to be terrific in the second half of the season. I'm not sure that they're going to have enough patience to get there because he's at 12 and 38 over his 50 games.
Yeah.
And as nice as Gus Bradley is, that's not going to keep you in a job.
But he doesn't see the owner. I agree, but it doesn't seem like the owner is the type of owner.
Been focused on a lot of other things for the last few years.
Yeah.
The foremost thing was they're trying to figure out if they could move the team to London. They can't move the team to London. It's not really workable.
But do you think he would make a move in season? I mean, off the season, of course, but in season?
I doubt it. I think that they'll wait till the end of the season. They'll
Gotcha.
be patient with Gus to try and make sure this thing comes through. Because, again, ownership knew going in, and General Manager David Caldwell knew going in, that this was going to be a team that if it peaked, it was going to peak in the second half of the season because of all the young players on defense. But again, it's like you got to get through the first half of the season, 4-4, 3-5, to be able to make a run in the second half of the season.
Yeah. Well said. Good stuff on the Jags. Jason, appreciate a couple of minutes, man. I know we'll talk again soon. Thank you, buddy.
Absolutely. Take care.
You got it, man. Jason Cole, Bleacher Report.